In numbers 17, 18, 19, 20, all the way through 24, the objective over here is to go backwards, right? So before we were going from phrases to mathematical language, now we're going to try to write mathematical language back into a sentence. So I dare you guys to stop the video right now and try to write out the phrases for each of these expressions, and then we're going to go check together, all right? So the first one, number 17, I have negative 12 plus n. If I were to write this out in a sentence, what I would do is I would write the sum of negative 12 and n. That's how I would write it out as a sentence. There are a few variations to this. If you feel like you're not sure if you did the right thing, then shoot me an email and I'll be glad to answer you, all right? Number 18, I have negative 2 divided by n. I have to choose a word to represent this. I would choose the word quotient because it's the best word in terms of how well it expresses the division. So I would say the quotient of negative 2 and n. Number 19, I have 9x, so I would write the product because it means multiplication of 9 and x. I could also write, for example, 9 times x or 9 times a number. All right, it doesn't matter. I just think that this way looks fancier and it shows you really have a good acquisition of the math language. Number 20, k minus 14. What is the word for subtraction? Difference. So I would write the difference between k and 14. And hopefully your handwriting looks better than mine on screen. Number 21, I have x over 2 plus 20. So this is going to have to be broken down, right? Because x over 2, how could we say x over 2 in a nice language, right? We could say, for example, half of x or half of a number, right? Because x over 2 is half of x. So I could say the sum, because I have the sum, right? The sum of half of x and 20. All right. Number 22, I have negative 4x plus 13. So I have, over here I have a product or a multiplication, and then over here I have a sum. So the big operation would be the sum. So I'm having the sum of negative 4x. How can I say this? Of negative 4 times x and 13. Something like that. Or I could say, for example, negative 4 times x plus 13. I could totally do that too. Number 23, I have 1/2 in front of x. All right, so I have 1/2 multiplying x. If you guys remember, this was something that we talked about in the beginning of the lesson. This is 1/2 of x. 1/2 of x. This means I have 1/2 multiplying x minus 10. Or another way I could say it is the difference between half of x and 10. That could be another possibility. And finally, number 24, I have negative 3x minus 8. I could write this in several different ways. I'm going to say the difference between negative 3 times x and 8. There are several ways I could do this. I could say, for example, negative 3 times x decreased by 8, or the product of negative 3 and x decreased by 8, or the product of negative 3 and x minus 8. There are several ways I could answer these questions. So this is where we're stopping today. Your homework for today is to do homework number 2 in the PDF packet of yours, and it's going to be due on Thursday, which is tomorrow, next class. All right? And remember, your homework is due in the beginning of class. This one is worth a grade.